Now, I want to get into Brian Branch and C.J. Gardner-Johnson, because C.J. Gardner-Johnson, the energy he brings, put the player aside for a second, because you know how great of a player he is. The energy he brings, the attitude he brings. Sam Flannel, I could talk about the fit, because it seemed like the secondary was missing a guy like C.J. Gardner-Johnson, the guy who could set the tone, get the energy high. I mean, Kirby Joseph's energetic and he brings energy, but CJ's done it in this league, and he walks into this team and he changes the entire attitude of the secondary. And then on top of that, he's one of the better safeties in the NFL. So the impact C.J. Gardner-Johnson is going to have, I don't think people are really comprehending, because here Matt Broder writes, exceptional day, exceptionable day. He says opponents better beware of the flats when he's out in the field playing nickel. He writes he had a massive hit on a running back out on a pass out the backfield, blew him up, forced a fumble, and I believe he broke his helmet. Broke his helmet.
Oh my goodness.
This guy broke his helmet on a hit. He was trying to track down the equipment crew for a few minutes after the hit. And then, of course, for Brian Branch, he said had a sack on T-Law on a play when the Lions had Anzalone, Campbell, and Rodriguez on the field. Again, they had Anzalone, Campbell, Rodriguez. They had linebackers, and here comes a hybrid safety corner linebacker to go sack Trevor Lawrence.
That's one of the most slept-on parts about Brian Branch, and one of the things that I can't wait, especially in the red zone this year. Brian Branch is going to be getting blitzed a lot, and what did we talk about him coming out of the draft? One of the most safe tacklers that you could ever imagine. So when we talk about Hutch getting in there, James Houston, all the guys that you just brought up about the defensive line, now it in Brian Branch in situational plays where he's going to be more athletic than the quarterback pretty much every time.
Yes.
So he's going to be tracked down whoever, and when he does, he's going to finish the play. And if he can't, then the ball's probably going to get thrown away, and if you're going to throw it, well, okay, you got C.J. Gardner-Johnson and Kirby Joseph in the back end on the red zone as well.
Do you have the clip? Actually, you do. Could you play it? Brad Holmes talking about Brian Branch on the Peter Schrager
We can, if
broadcast?
there's some weird, easy audio that's going on in the background. We apologize. We think we fixed it, but here we go.
He's been very good.
I
will say that. The thing about it is that because we had C.J. Gardner-Johnson slated to kind of be the nickel, and we knew that Branch was going to be best as a nickel, and he can play safety as well. But we're just like, look, if he finds a role, he finds a role. If he doesn't, then we know he'll be a dang good special teams player. But, you know, it was pretty evident as soon as he got out there that he meant business, and he's making waves, man.
Branch is going to be one of the biggest steals of the 2023 NFL draft. I'll say it right now. Like, for a guy who's regarded as the best safety in the class, a first-round pick almost guaranteed, a guy that Brad Holmes had in one of his 14 players' first-round grades. Brian Branch was one of them. You got him in the second round, and not only that, you stole him from the Packers, and you stole him from other teams that needed a guy like Brian Branch. He will be, if not the biggest, one of the biggest steals in this draft. I believe that.
Oh, I think he might. I think there's a chance, unless somebody really, really in the later rounds pops off, which is possible because somebody always does. Brian Branch might be looked at as one of the biggest steals in this draft, and certainly one of the biggest steals in Lions history. I understand we've seen Kirby Joseph and Malcolm Rodriguez and James Houston and Amon-Ra St. Brown, but given where he could have gone based on his talent, where he actually went, it's mind-boggling. The Lions, I know that they were at the time, should have been popping bottles, and you know what? And Brian Branch, all he has done ever since he has stepped onto this field, both in preseason and from what I've been seeing out of training camp, is validate every single thing that I've thought that he's going to be, that Brad Holmes, Dan Campbell have thought he's going to be, Aaron Glenn, anybody. He has done that, and then some. You even look at Broder's notes. I mean, he had a sack on Trevor Lawrence, and as I've always said, at Alabama, he had 3 sacks his last year. And for a safety, for like a defensive back, like a safety corner hybrid, that is pretty damn good. And you didn't even mention, Jeff, the pass breakup on Evan Ingram. If Brian Branch can cover Evan Ingram, who is one of, I would say, the more physically skilled tight ends, I mean, he's up there. If he can guard him one-on-one and consistently shut guys like him down, that would be absolutely huge. I mean, you saw it at Alabama. His ability to rush the passer, make plays in the backfield, 14 tackles for loss, at pass breakups in coverage. He is going to do that. You saw it in the preseason, that play against Cole Beasley. You saw him being all over the field. It's stuff they did at Alabama. It's stuff that he's done in training camp. It's stuff he's done on the preseason games, and it's stuff that he's going to be doing in regular season games all the way up until his first All-Pro and beyond. I am completely all in and drinking all of the Kool-Aid. I wish I had some when it comes to Brian Branch. The dude is special.
Well, I'll tell you this, and I don't even want to say it's drinking Kool-Aid, because if you love football, you love Brian Branch.
Yep.
Look at what he improves immediately day one from the Lions. Last year, I'll give you two things that the Lions struggled with: pass coverage.
Yep.
And tackling. Brian Branch, elite tackler. He's great in pass coverage. Oh, yeah, and sprinkle in a little bit, he can get after the quarterback.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he is the complete package as a DB, and the Lions needed a dude like that. They just did, and I think Brian Branch, I know people were, at least early on in the training camp, at least period, hey, is Brian Branch going to play this year? Oh, yeah. He's going to play a lot this year. They're going to use him in so many different ways, and he immediately improves this Lions secondary on all fronts. And there's good reason to be excited about Brian Branch.